Hello, welcome to our cross-cultural awareness workshop training. In this presentation, group Hello, welcome to our cross-cultural awareness workshop training. In this presentation, Group C will propose a 15-minute workshop training on cross-cultural awareness. This training will provide a foundation for achieving cultural communication by creating cultural awareness within this organization. According to Colin Baker 2022, cross-cultural communication involves understanding the similarities and differences of people from different cultural backgrounds and groups to better communicate information and engage with them. In this slide, we will discuss what is described as cultural awareness, what is an example of cultural awareness, and provide you with a list of topics that will be discussed throughout the presentation. Cultural awareness can be described as one's cultural identity, values, beliefs, knowledge, and acceptance of other cultures. An example of cultural awareness may be understanding the difference between themselves and people from other countries or other backgrounds, especially differences in attitudes and values, and also knowing programs to promote diversity and cultural awareness within the industry. Understanding how people acquire their culture is an important role in personal identities, lifeways, and mental and physical health of individuals and communities. Being conscious of one's own culturally shaped values, beliefs, perceptions, and bias. Cultural wellness will also break down barriers that our organization are facing while enhancing skills to relate to and understand other cultures. In this training, the following will be discussed: learning outcomes, sources, theories, and concepts discussed during this workshop, proposed context for training, different activities used during training and covered materials, evaluation, which will consist of questions, conclusions, which describes why cultural wellness training is important in our organization. In this slide, we will discuss the purpose of cross-cultural training awareness, how cultural awareness affects our behaviors, and discuss why we chose this topic. The purpose of this training on cross-cultural awareness is for employees to understand cultural differences and the way it affects how we behave, work, and communicate with each other. We chose this topic so that our employees will understand the difference in values and belief systems between ourselves and other backgrounds. Understanding this information will help our teams to communicate effectively and respect each other. This training will enable all employees to work in a multicultural environment effectively and collaborate as a team when making decisions.
Cross-cultural awareness and its objectives. The effects of cross-cultural differences can be detrimental to communication and interpersonal relationships. Therefore, we should strive to increase learners' cultural awareness and appreciation through cross-cultural awareness training. When individuals who do not share a common cultural framework become aware of and appreciate their differences, it promotes trust, better relationships, and clear communication. Learning about people of different cultures, communicating with them, and adapting to them will be easier for learners when the foundation is formed to help them develop attitudes and skills. The Purpose, Perspective, and Initiative. The main focus of training was surround itself with targeting different behavior patterns, key focus, values, and how these training exercises can bring awareness and beneficial mechanisms to light so that a better work and business type environment can be sustainable to the growing demand of valuable experience. Many other cultures can collaborate to these businesses for better outreach opportunities. Those who attend the training will leave knowing how much of an impact they can have on the companies they work for. and how initiatives in these industries, as well as HR managers, are also able to benefit from them. A multicultural workforce requires managers to be aware of cross-cultural issues when dealing with global business activities. Different management teams use different practices, methods, and strategies in different countries, globalizing the cultural awareness for project management. The takeaway and prognosis of the training. Furthermore, the training will enable these volunteers to become more aware of biases they may not even be aware of, or learn more about how they can behave in the context of cultural differences. Therefore, these issues will be eradicated and the relationship between employees and managers will be improved, which often causes friction at work. To effectively interact with people with different worldviews, it is crucial to understand, respect, communicate, and to make sure you can communicate effectively with them, and how detrimental it is to make it known that compassion and these traits are acknowledged within the community to create greater purpose. A safe place where one can be one's true self without interference or criticism. The goal of this training is to assist individuals with their extraneous thinking and reasoning processes. Hence, it is mandatory to undergo this training in all aspects and managerial positions. With the training, participants will be able to identify their bias and use them as a valuable tool to achieve a more positive and productive outlook. The training can also promote innovation and creativity throughout a healthy work environment that promotes inclusivity, diversity, and offers a well-rounded experience for individuals irrespective of their backgrounds.
Sources, theories, and concepts. Who, when, where, and why. General cultural awareness training. Sources, theories, and concepts. Gaining awareness, learning appropriate behaviors, and having respect for each person's individual self. The social learning theory is a type of learning that is performed through direct contact and observations, which can in turn promote retention and allow for greater learning in work environments. Through this process, 70% of learning can be offered on the job, 20% through interacting with peers, and another 10% in the classroom. Peers can learn, observe, and model certain behaviors and gain a better understanding of why or how they do what they do, and they can verbally interact to gain knowledge. Peers can observe each other and notice what is different and what they have in common with each other. These individuals will interact on a daily basis. Therefore, they will gain most of their knowledge about other cultures while performing daily tasks. They can take 10% that they learned in the classroom and transfer it to the work area by asking questions and being open with each employee's unique situation. The 20% falls in the middle between the observations and the learning. Organizational learning theory. This is an interactive approach among members of an organization that has been related to better performance. This is a learning process that leads to change. With the understanding of the importance of multicultural knowledge within corporations, the employees will better understand each person's differences and work better with them. The organizations will grow and become informed together. Routines of the entire organization can improve as a whole as each person can learn from each other's cultures and why things happen the way they do. Facilitation's promise, we suggest, lies in its potential to stimulate higher order learning in organizations through experimenting with generating learning about and sustaining small-scale adaptations to organizational processes and work routines. Who, when, where, and why. This type of general cultural awareness training would be appropriate for corporate America, whether it's in an executive office or a warehouse. People of all different cultures and backgrounds enter the workforce, and it would be in the best interest of the company to learn the special skills of its employees. This will improve communication skills among many individuals and among the global network of businessmen. This training should be mandatory for everyone from the top down and include monthly meetings to learn new things from a different group. New hires should start on day one as they get to know their fellow employees. Cultural differences should be celebrated monthly and annually, and more in-depth training should take place, led by a person of a different culture each time.
Our first activity is called Step to the Line. The purpose of this activity is to highlight the cultural differences in people around us. The participants may be able to learn a new fact about someone they had never thought to ask on their own. Not only does this activity teach new things about people we work closely with, it opens the floor for more open conversations and puts the participants in a more vulnerable place. If used correctly, the activity should create more awareness of the cultures of coworkers and start to develop the inclusion piece with more knowledge of each other. I would suggest using this activity toward the beginning of the training. This will allow the participants to learn about others without having intense conversations. It is a good opening for the awareness of those around. The materials needed for this activity are a colored masking tape to tape the line and some statements to read to the group. I would prepare these in advance, but if you feel that you need to add as you're going, feel free to do so. I included some example statements like I celebrate Christmas, I celebrate Hanukkah, I was born outside of the United States. I feel like my coworkers celebrate cultural differences in our workplace. I have missed out on jobs I am qualified due to gender, race, or sexual orientation. I am open to learning about my coworkers' cultures, and I speak more than one language. To start the activity, tape a straight line on the floor long enough for the whole group to fit on it. Have the group split up and line up on either side of the line. Read a statement to the group, starting with a lower pressure statement to get them to ease into the activity. And if it is true to someone, they will step onto the line in the middle. Give a few seconds for the group to look around to see who stepped forward or stayed back. Then call everyone back to their original places. Continue to read the statements as the activity goes further. Start reading the more personal or deeper statements to really create the openness in the group. If at any point a conversation starts, it might be beneficial to cut it short and give some time at the end for the end of the activity to have those deeper conversations from the things that they had learned during the activity. Our second activity is inner and outer conversations. The purpose of this activity is to allow for coworkers to have more intense conversations about their differences in a structured manner. Each person has the floor to speak about their experiences and learn about the other persons. Depending on the questions used, the conversations the participants have can create a deeper connection due to a mutual vulnerability. This activity will be best towards the end of the training, due to the possibility of vulnerability that is needed to really gain from this experience. Allowing the participants to gain trust with instructors and coworkers is necessary for this activity. It might be best to do after a break so you can have time to rearrange the chairs or the room into a circle. The materials needed for this activity are a chair for each participant and a list of predetermined questions that can be visible to the whole group. I would suggest using a PowerPoint or like a slideshow that can be shown to everyone and projected in a place where everyone can see it. Some of the questions that you may ask are, what are your favorite holidays or traditions? This kind of opens up the floor and is not a very deep question to start with. Number 2 would be, what is a common misconception of your culture? Number 3 is, what should be changed in our workplace to make you feel most comfortable? Number 4 is, do you feel as if you were treated differently due to cultural differences? If so, how did that make you feel? And number 5, thinking about diversity and inclusion, how would your ideal work environment run? When you're starting with everyone in a circle, you're going to number them off in 1s and 2s. Once everyone is numbered, have the 2s bring their chair in the middle of the circle and face the person to the left. So the 2s will be sitting directly in front of a 1. Display the first question in a place everyone can see, probably on like a PowerPoint. Read it aloud and instruct the 1s to answer first. Depending on the question, give 1s about 2 to 4 minutes to answer. Give a 15-ish second warning to wrap up their answer, then give the twos the same amount of time to answer the same question. After both have answered the question, twos are going to stand up and rotate to the right 3 to 5 seats depending on the group size. They will be in front of a different number 1. Display the next question and repeat above until all 5 questions have been answered. Bring the group back to the original circle and have an open conversation about the takeaways from this activity. For our evaluation, we will be evaluating the change in behaviors, so we will issue a survey to all of the participants. We will give out a quick 4-question survey with a Likert scale for completion, ease in the beginning of the training, and again at the end. The purpose of this survey is to measure the change in behaviors in participants themselves and those around them. We will give it in the beginning and then again at the end so we can go back in and look and see the questions and answers in the beginning versus how they answered them at the end and see the behavior change throughout. This would also be beneficial to give again later on, maybe a few months after the training, to see if those changes have stuck with them or if there is further training that needs to happen.
In this slide, we will discuss analyzing training perspectives, the importance of implementing cross-cultural awareness in organizations, developing communications with coworkers. From human resources perspectives, is cultural awareness relevant to today's work? And what will this cross-cultural training do for this organization? A major objective of analyzing training perspectives and obstacles is to identify issues that many cultural groups face in the workplace. It is important to implement awareness to a broader audience, such as leaders within organizations. This is why it is essential to have an open voice and platforms for issues like this, so that everyone can feel seen and heard without hostility or back in bargaining. Not only that, but it allows people to get to know their coworkers and staff on an equal playing field without feeling confined by corporate hierarchy. Communication, empathy, and respect across many cultures allows individuals to come together for a common goal and work effectively and productively as a team. From a human resources perspective, understanding the difference in ethics, beliefs, values, and attitudes of different individuals and developing cultural awareness is vital to any organization. It is our job to create a diverse personal and corporate culture that is inclusive to everyone by making them feel as if they do belong within the organization. The cross-cultural awareness training will provide a framework to build off and allow for the company's employees to put rest to assumptions and bias towards a certain group or groups. Differences will be acknowledged and embraced, and there will probably be more similarities that are to be expected. Cultural behaviors, values, and communication styles will be discussed to increase cultural wellness across the team.